I think that that's the main issue that we have collectively as people who are coming into the country, not necessarily on clear pathways with citizenship and with all the things, is that we don't realize how urgent it is to clean up the mess. Clean up the mess. That's your job as a next generation. Clean up the mess. It's not fair. It's not easy, but you have to. And that is one of the primary reasons why I love my job. Because I get to do my job. I get to do a cool job that I get to put an invoice in for. And I get to have a W-9 and I get to pay my taxes on. And I figured out the way to have the best of both worlds. My mom hates my job, but hey, it's a real job and it pays very well and it's really cool. And that is something that I learned from watching people do things their own way and also watching them never get anything back for it and never have the safety and protection of saying, I signed a contract. I'm going to get paid within 30 days. I'm going to get paid within 60 days. I'm going to get paid before I hit the stage. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the psychology of money. And at the end of the day, a lot of the reasons why people don't go out and get the credit and they don't go out and get, they don't sit down with bankers and they don't sit down with people who can help them is because they're sad and afraid because they're traumatized by whatever experience they had. I'm here to tell you that it's not going to help you to stay traumatized. Just get over it. Because the reality is that if you hold on too tight and if you think you can control this, you're going to miss the boat.
I think you're spot on. And financial trauma is something that we've been talking about a lot over the past few years. And kind of what our platform was built on is to make sure that we can ease that. And the number one way to ease that is to educate people. So we've talked about a lot, man. We've talked about boobs, right? We've talked about sneakers a bunch of times, but we've never talked about partnership, right? And one of the things we've been doing this for 7 years, having corporate buy-in has been one of those issues that we can't seem to just overcome. I want to talk about why Shade Street and Ross thought that this partnership with us would be so profound, and what was that process like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to, you know, whenever we start a project like this, we always think about, what is the insight that we have on our consumer, right? And, you know, Chase Freedom Rise specifically talks to what we call a starter consumer, right? So that can be, someone that is finishing up, college and ready to, start their post-college journey. That could be someone that, to your point, may have just entered the country and doesn't have an existing, credit situation. And our goal is to give them a card, being Chase Freedom Rise, that allows them to start that credit journey, to learn the basics, to learn the foundation, and to start, growing their credit in a way that allows them to evolve into some of our other products, Chase Freedom Unlimited, whatever it may be. But I think in terms of your question about the process, for us, we wanted to just be authentic to Gen Z and to these consumers that we're speaking about. And one of the things that we've heard is a lot of people are afraid of banks. A lot of people are afraid to sit down with banks and have real conversations about, their financial situation. So how do we have a conversation with, a starter, someone just getting out of college who doesn't necessarily want to talk about credit? We find individuals that have done an amazing job of, creating a culture out of it and showing, right? Because I think that's the thing, right? Showing and proving the value of credit, of learning, you know, a variety of things that, help build your financial picture. And, obviously you guys have, to your point, done it for the last 7 years. And for us, it made sense, right? When we started having a conversation with Mass Appeal about it, we wanted to make sure that this felt authentic, that this felt right for the consumer that we were speaking to. And I think most of all, gave us a clear sense of storytelling from an authentic perspective that would resonate with our consumer. And, I think we did a really good job of that. Like when I think about guys like Broderick that we met down in Atlanta, hearing his story, Margaret, who was a dancer, like all of these people had different stories in different parts of the country, but like they all left learning more, and literally you could see their eyes light up when they discovered simple things, you know what I mean? And I think that's how I knew that we were doing the right thing, right? Because these kids actually left with more information than they had before and things that they could actually apply.
Well, following up on that, you were there, you watched all the episodes.